I found Miranda's credit card statement tucked behind the coffee maker on a Tuesday morning, and something about the Riverside in charges made my stomach drop before my brain could even process why. My name's Thomas, I'm 34, and I run construction crews across Grand Rapids. Miranda's 32, works at Little Sprouts Daycare on the east side. We'd been married 9 years that spring, and I thought I knew every rhythm of our life together. Those first years were good, really good. We'd spend Sunday mornings at the farmer's market downtown, Miranda picking out fresh flowers while I'd grab coffee from that vendor she loved. She'd tell me stories about the kids at daycare, how little Emma finally learned to tie her shoes, or how Aiden built an entire city out of blocks. I'd share construction site stories, like the time last summer when we discovered a 1920s time capsule buried in the foundation of the old Beckwith building. Inside were letters, photographs, a pocket watch. The crew stood around for an hour just reading through everything before we called the Historical Society. Miranda had been so excited when I told her about it that evening, asking to see photos, wondering about the lives of the people who'd written those letters. We'd cook together on weeknights, Miranda chopping vegetables while I handled the grill on our apartment balcony. She'd put on old country music, the kind her mother used to play, and we'd dance in our small kitchen. Saturday nights meant movies on the couch, her feet in my lap, arguing over whether the plot twist was predictable or brilliant. We had our routines, our inside jokes, our shared history. When the heating broke down that first winter together, we'd huddled under blankets for 3 days waiting for the landlord to fix it, laughing about how we were like pioneers surviving the frontier. Our apartment on the west side wasn't fancy, just a 2-bedroom on the 3rd floor, but we'd made it ours. Miranda had insisted on painting the living room a warm terracotta color despite my protests that it might be too bold. She'd been right, of course. It made the whole place feel cozy. We'd hung photos from our wedding, from trips to Sleeping Bear Dunes and Mackinac Island, from random Tuesday nights that turned into something worth remembering. But sometime around February, things shifted in ways I couldn't name. Not dramatic, just slight. The shift was so gradual I almost missed it. Miranda started volunteering at the community center on Thursday evenings, helping with their food distribution program. Noble cause. I supported it completely. She seemed energized by it, talked about the people she was helping, the other volunteers. She'd come home with stories about families grateful for the assistance, about organizing the donations, about feeling like she was making a real difference beyond the daycare. I remember being proud of her. My wife, giving her time to help others. What kind of husband would question that? Then came March, and the spring weather started turning. Construction season was ramping up, which meant longer days for me, more time on job sites. Miranda and I started having dinner at different times more often. She'd eat before her Thursday volunteer shifts. I'd grab something after work. We'd still catch up before bed, but those conversations became shorter, more surface level. I started noticing the phone calls. Not frequent, but oddly timed. Miranda would step into the bedroom, close the door. Her voice would drop to a murmur. When I asked, she'd say it was Christy from work or Catherine from the volunteer program. Always reasonable explanations. Always delivered with a smile that seemed genuine. One night in mid-March, I came home early from a site inspection to find her laughing on the phone in our bedroom. The door was closed. When I opened it, she quickly said, "Hey, I've got to go, talk later," and hung up. Her face was flushed, happy in a way I hadn't seen in months. "Who was that?" I asked casually. "Catherine." She was telling me about this crazy situation with one of the volunteer coordinators. Miranda set her phone down, screen side down. "You're home early. Finished ahead of schedule. Want to grab dinner somewhere?" "I already ate." "Sorry, babe. Didn't know you'd be back so soon." It was a nothing moment, easily explained, but something about it nagged at me. The way she'd flipped her phone over. The flush in her cheeks. The quick ending to the call. I shook it off. I trusted my wife. 9 years of marriage didn't fall apart because of one weird phone call. The credit card statement changed everything. Riverside Inn, a boutique hotel on the outskirts of town near the airport. 3 separate charges over 6 weeks. Always weekday afternoons. Times when Miranda should have been at the daycare or home. I stared at that statement for 10 minutes, trying to make the numbers mean something else. Maybe she'd bought gift certificates for a friend. Maybe the daycare had held some kind of event there. But the amounts were wrong for that. Exactly the cost of a room for a few hours. My mouth went dry. My hands started shaking. I set the statement down on the counter and walked away from it, like physical distance would make it less real. I didn't confront her immediately. Maybe I should have, but something made me dig deeper first. Part of me still wanted to be wrong, wanted there to be some innocent explanation that would make me feel stupid for doubting her. But a larger part knew deep down what those charges meant. I checked our shared credit card account online that night after Miranda fell asleep. She was breathing softly beside me, curled on her side like always, and I was sitting in bed with my laptop, scrolling through months of transactions. More hotel charges. Different places, the Heritage, Brookside Suites, another at Riverside Inn. Always between noon and 4 p.m. Always on days she claimed to be working late on parent-teacher conferences or helping with daycare inventory. February, March, now April. 3 months of charges. Maybe longer. I only had 6 months of history available online. My hands were shaking as I closed the laptop. 9 years. 9 years of building a life together, of trusting each other completely, and she was spending our money on hotel rooms in the middle of the day. I lay awake the rest of that night, staring at the ceiling, listening to Miranda breathe. The woman I'd married, the woman I'd built a life with, was a stranger. Every memory felt tainted now. Had she been thinking about someone else during those Sunday mornings at the farmer's market? When we danced in the kitchen, was she wishing she was dancing with him instead? By sunrise, I'd made a decision. I needed more information before I confronted her. I needed to know who, how long, how serious. I needed to understand the full scope of what I was dealing with. Knowledge was power, and I needed every advantage. I thought about hiring someone to follow her, but that felt cowardly. Instead, I did something simpler. I told her I'd be on a site inspection in Kalamazoo the following Thursday, a complete lie. I'd actually assigned Hank, my assistant supervisor, to handle it. Then I waited to see what Miranda would do. Thursday morning, she kissed me goodbye at 6:30 a.m., just like always. Said she had a busy day with the kids, maybe drinks after work with Catherine. I drove my truck to the construction office, parked it, then took Hank's sedan. By 10 a.m., I was parked down the street from our apartment building. Miranda left at 11:45, looking over her shoulder as she got into her car. I followed her through Grand Rapids, keeping 3 cars back. She drove to Riverside Inn, parked in the back lot, and waited. At 12:10, a silver Lexus pulled up beside her. A man got out, tall, athletic build, expensive suit. They didn't kiss in the parking lot, but the way they walked together into the hotel said everything. I sat in that car for 20 minutes, rage building like pressure in a boiler. Then I went home and started making calls. First, I called Jim, my lawyer buddy from high school. We'd stayed close over the years, grabbed beers most Fridays. Jim, I said when he answered, I need a divorce attorney. The best one you know. There was a pause. Thomas? What happened? Miranda's having an affair. I just watched her walk into a hotel with someone. Jesus. Okay. I'll text you a name, Rebecca Morrison. She's tough as nails. You want me to come over? Not yet. I need to figure some things out first. Next, I did something that felt both petty and necessary. I called the daycare center and asked to speak with the director, Mrs. Patterson. Hi, this is Thomas Brennan, Miranda's husband. I'm trying to reach her about a family emergency, but her phone's going to voicemail. Is she available? Mrs. Patterson's voice tightened with concern. Oh no, is everything all right? Miranda called in sick today, said she had a stomach bug. Sick, I repeated, my voice hollow. Right. Must have mixed up my days. Thanks. I hung up and stared at the wall. She'd called in sick to spend the afternoon with another man. Using our money. Lying to my face every single day. By the time Miranda came home at 5:30, I'd made a decision. I wouldn't confront her yet. I'd gather more information, figure out who this man was, understand the full scope of what I was dealing with. Knowledge was power, and I needed every advantage. Hey babe, she said brightly, dropping her purse on the counter. How was Kalamazoo? Long, I said, watching her face carefully. How were the kids today? Exhausting. She smiled, and it looked genuine. Emma had a meltdown over snack time, and we had a parent observation that ran late. I'm beat. The lies came so easily to her. That's what shook me most, not just that she was cheating, but how naturally the deception flowed. Over the next 2 weeks, I became someone I didn't recognize. I checked her phone while she showered, finding texts to someone saved as Gary Community Center. The messages were carefully worded, nothing explicit, but the subtext was clear. Can't wait for Thursday. Last time was amazing. He's going to be out of town next week. I cross-referenced the dates with our credit card statements. Every Gary text corresponded with a hotel charge. Then I found his LinkedIn profile through Miranda's Facebook friends list. Gary Mitchell, spelled with 2 R's. Manager at the Riverside Inn. 38 years old. Divorced, no kids. His profile showed him at various hotel industry events, always smiling, always polished. The irony wasn't lost on me. She was having an affair with a hotel manager, using hotels for their meetings. Convenient. I met with Rebecca Morrison on a Monday morning. She was in her 50s, sharp-eyed, with an office that screamed competence. I laid out everything, the credit card statements, the phone records I'd pulled from our account, the photographs I'd taken of Miranda and Gary entering the hotel. Michigan is a no-fault divorce state, Rebecca explained, so the affair itself won't impact the divorce settlement significantly. But this documentation will be useful. How do you want to proceed? I want out, I said. Clean fast. And I don't want her blindsided. I want her to understand exactly why this is happening. Rebecca nodded. We'll draft the papers. In the meantime, I'd suggest opening a separate bank account, redirecting your paycheck there. Not to hide assets, but to protect yourself financially. I did exactly that. Split our joint savings 50-50, moved my half to a new account. Redirected my direct deposit. Changed the password on our streaming services, our shared cloud storage, small things that would send a message when the time came. On a Wednesday night in late April, I came home to find Miranda cooking dinner, humming that old country song she loved. The apartment smelled like garlic and rosemary. She'd set the table with candles. What's the occasion? I asked. No occasion. Just felt like doing something nice. She kissed my cheek, and I felt nothing but disgust. We ate dinner making small talk. She told me about a field trip the daycare was planning to the John Ball Zoo. I told her about a new development project we'd won the bid on. We were playing house, pretending everything was normal, while she was still texting Gary under the table. After dinner, I said, I ran into an old friend of yours last week. From your first marriage. Miranda's fork stopped halfway to her mouth. Oh, who? Doesn't matter. Just got me thinking about how you've been married before. Makes you wonder about patterns, doesn't it? Her eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? Just making conversation. I smiled. How did that marriage end anyway? You never talk about it much. We grew apart. Her voice was tight. Why are you bringing this up? Curious, I guess. 9 years together, and I realized there's still things I don't know about you. She relaxed slightly, but I could see the tension in her shoulders. Some things are better left in the past, Thomas. Maybe, I said. Or maybe the past predicts the future. The next day, I had the divorce papers served to her at the daycare. Not at home. I wanted the professional embarrassment, wanted her colleagues to see. The process server handed her the manila envelope during outdoor playtime, with half a dozen other teachers watching. She called me 17 times that afternoon. I didn't answer. Instead, I texted, everything you need to know is in those papers. I'll be staying at a hotel tonight. We can talk when you're ready to be honest. When she finally reached me that evening, her voice was shaking. Thomas, what is this? Divorce papers? What are you talking about? Riverside Inn, I said calmly. The Heritage. Brookside Suites. Should I continue? Silence. Gary Mitchell. Hotel manager. I've known for 3 weeks, Miranda. I've seen the receipts, read the texts, watched you walk into a hotel with him. Thomas, I can explain. Don't. My voice was ice. Don't insult me with explanations. Just answer one question. How long? 6 months, she whispered. 6 months. Half a year of lies, of her coming home and kissing me after being with him. Did you ever love me? In all 9 years, was any of it real? It was complicated. That's not an answer. No, she said finally, and her honesty was somehow worse than the lies. Not the way I should have. I tried, Thomas. I really tried. But Gary, he understands me in ways. I hung up. There was nothing more to say. The divorce process was brutal in its efficiency. Rebecca had prepared everything perfectly. Michigan's no-fault laws meant we didn't have to prove anything beyond incompatibility. We divided assets 50-50, though I made sure every single hotel charge was documented and categorized as her personal expense, not marital. But the real revenge wasn't legal, it was social. I didn't badmouth Miranda publicly, didn't need to. I simply told the truth when people asked. Word spread fast in Grand Rapids, especially in our social circles. The daycare parents started requesting different teachers for their children. Miranda's volunteer coordinator at the community center called me, apologizing, saying they'd had no idea, and that Gary Mitchell had been volunteering there too. That's where they'd met. "We've asked Gary to step down from the program," she said. "And honestly, after hearing about this situation, Miranda's no longer a good fit either. We rely on trust with our volunteers." I thanked her and hung up, feeling hollow. Victory didn't taste like I'd expected. The truly satisfying part came 6 weeks later. Gary's wife, ex-wife technically, but they'd apparently been trying to reconcile, called me out of the blue. "Mr. Brennan, this is Denise Mitchell. I think we should talk." We met at a coffee shop downtown. Denise was elegant, tired-looking, with sharp intelligence in her eyes. "Gary told me he was over the affair," she said. "That it was a mistake, that he wanted to work on our marriage. Then I found out he'd been fired from the Riverside Inn for having an affair with a guest's wife, with your wife, using company rooms for his personal liaisons. He lost his job. I hadn't known that. 2 weeks ago. The hotel chain has strict policies about that kind of thing. Corporate found out and terminated him immediately." She sipped her coffee. "He blamed Miranda, said she'd pursued him. I just wanted you to know the truth. He's been doing this for years. Serial cheater. You and I were just the latest casualties." After Denise left, I sat in that coffee shop for an hour, processing everything. Gary had lost his job. Miranda had lost her volunteer position and was dealing with social fallout at work. Their affair, built on stolen afternoons and hotel rooms, had crumbled under the weight of real consequences. The final divorce hearing was in June, 2 months after I'd filed. Miranda showed up looking exhausted, her lawyer barely going through the motions. The judge approved our settlement, declared the marriage dissolved, and that was it. 9 years ended in a 20-minute hearing. As we left the courthouse, Miranda caught my arm. "Thomas, wait. Can we talk?" "About what?" "Gary and I broke up. It didn't work out. I know I don't deserve anything from you, but I just want you to know I'm sorry. I made a terrible mistake." "You didn't make a mistake," I said, pulling my arm away. "You made a series of choices over months, knowing exactly what you were doing. Those aren't mistakes, that's character. Please. I lost everything. My reputation, my volunteer work, maybe my job. People look at me like I'm some kind of monster. And Gary turned out to be exactly what you probably thought he was, a liar who'd say anything to get what he wanted. And what did you expect, Miranda? You built a relationship on betrayal. You thought that would turn into something honest." Her eyes filled with tears. "I thought I loved him. You loved the excitement. The secret. The affair gave you something our marriage couldn't. Not because our marriage was bad, but because affairs exist in fantasy. They don't have bills to pay, or dishes to do, or real life to navigate. I know that now. Good for you. But that's not my problem anymore." I walked away, leaving her standing on the courthouse steps. No dramatic confrontation, no shouting match. Just a clean ending. 3 months later, I heard through Jim that Miranda had moved to Lansing, taking a position at a daycare there. Fresh start, away from Grand Rapids and all the whispers. Gary had apparently moved to Detroit, working at some corporate hotel chain in a non-management position. As for me, I threw myself into work. The Beckwith building renovation became my obsession, turning that historic structure into modern condos while preserving its character. I hired 2 new crew members, expanded our operations. Hank got promoted to full supervisor. I started dating again in the fall, nothing serious. Learned to trust my instincts better, to see red flags I'd ignored before. One woman, Emily, asked me on our 3rd date why I'd gotten divorced. "My ex-wife had an affair," I said simply. "We'd been married 9 years. "I'm sorry. That must have been devastating." "It was," I admitted. But you know what the worst part was? Not the affair itself. It was realizing she'd never actually loved me. 9 years, and it had all been a comfortable lie for her. Emily reached across the table, squeezed my hand. Her loss. Maybe it was. Some days I believed that. Other days, I wondered what I'd missed, what signs I'd ignored. But mostly, I just focused on moving forward. The pro-revenge aspect wasn't in some elaborate scheme. It was in the natural consequences of Miranda's choices. She'd lost her social standing, her volunteer position, her affair partner who turned out to be a serial cheater, and her marriage. I hadn't needed to sabotage her. I'd simply let the truth speak for itself and let her own actions determine her fate. 6 months after the divorce, I was having dinner with Hank and his wife when he asked, "You ever regret how you handled everything with Miranda?" "No," I said and meant it. I could have stayed, tried to work through it. But she didn't love me, she admitted that. What's there to work through? You can't negotiate someone into loving you. Fair point, Hank's wife said. You deserve someone who's all in. Eventually, I agreed. Right now, I'm just focused on building a good life. The rest will come when it comes. And that was the truth. I'd loved Miranda, built a life with her, trusted her completely. She'd betrayed all of it, not for someone who valued her, but for a hotel manager who'd been playing the same game with multiple women. The revenge wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, thorough, and absolute. She lost everything that mattered, reputation, relationship, respect, while I walked away clean, with my integrity intact and my life ready to rebuild. Some people might think I should have fought harder for the marriage, or that I moved too fast with the divorce. But I knew better. The moment I saw those credit card charges, the moment I watched her walk into that hotel, the marriage was already over. Everything that followed was just paperwork and logistics. Miranda made her choices. I made mine. In the end, that's all any of us can do. Choose how we respond when life reveals uncomfortable truths. I chose honesty, dignity, and a clean break. Thank you for watching the video to the end. YouTube may no longer suggest my channel to you, so subscribe to it to receive new interesting stories. You will also help the channel grow and improve the quality of its content. A playlist with other interesting stories that you can listen to is now displayed on the screen. You can also write in the comments what stories you would like to see on the channel.